nobody was in any imminent danger, therefore it was not a justified shooting. Trooper North said he's reaching in his pocket, he's making quick motions toward the West Haven officer and Trooper Jackson, and with that open window, with Trooper Jackson moving toward the suspect's vehicle, he said, I thought they were in imminent danger. So it sounded like he went through in his mind his checklist before he ultimately went through the trigger. So that's clearly what's going to be argued in court.
Yeah, and again, we're not gonna debate what the Inspector General made a decision that we're disappointed with. We think that we will not debate the facts of the case in public. We think that that's what due process is for in the judicial system, and we will respect that process. It's unfortunate that that's ultimately what it comes down to. When a trooper or a police officer in Connecticut or anywhere in the country is forced to make a split-second decision that others can analyze and reanalyze and find subject matter experts that give differing opinions, and that one individual person appointed by the legislature can make a decision on whether a police officer should be prosecuted criminally for that, that's concerning to us. But that's the process, and we'll respect it. And we believe we'll see it to a successful conclusion on behalf of Trooper North. This isn't just for Trooper North. Every police officer in the state of Connecticut should take notice and be, we see it every day. We represent troopers that now, as a result of politics and policy changes, actually put our members in more harm's way. We actually see our troopers every day, situations they're involved in where they're actually hesitating to take action. And that puts them more at risk. And we believe that's what's happening in our society. Without talking about the specifics of Trooper North, because we represent him and we don't want somebody to twist what we're saying. So the Inspector General can take his position in his report. We haven't had a chance to fully review it, but I think any independent, impartial party that reads that report can see that there are actually other opinions that believe that the shooting was valid and justified.
The facts that your troopers had at the time of engaging this individual was carjacking and he's got a knife. That's all they knew from Norwalk Police. You know, the report states that 15 minutes after this deadly incident, it was reported by Norwalk Police. Well, it wasn't a carjacking. But anyway, side-swiping cars on I-95, including troopers' vehicles, I think Trooper Jackson's cruiser. And as you say, split-second decisions, there are many people who couldn't make split-second decisions, and that's why it's a tough situation for the trooper. Obviously, nothing was known about the mental state, the alleged mental state of the individual who had been on medication for years. John, from your perspective, can you talk about being a trooper, just not about this particular instance, but in these situations, how hard it is to make the right choice in a split second?
Sure, that's always the most difficult thing for any police officer out there, to make those split-second decisions. And when we feel that the decision was justified and done according to our training, we're in support of our members that get involved in these situations.
I mean, the real question needs to be the legislature, the governor, everyone involved, including us, is the real focus needs to start. There needs to be a real genuine conversation about mental health and wellness in society. When police officers are forced into situations where the situation is created by individuals that aren't well, the answer can't be that we prosecute police officers for acting and being in a position where they're forced to act to defend themselves or others. And we believe that Trooper North was defending the other police officers that were on scene. That's what the case comes down to. So,
John, what is your title? You're the president of the union?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But as the president, I mean, are you a state police sergeant? Are you?
Yep, I'm State Police Sergeant and the Union President. Yep,
Okay. All right. And you've been with the state police for how long?
21 years.
Can you speak to what Andy has about how much more difficult it is to police at this time?
Well, it's clear that the job has changed very much over time, and the things that, you know, the expectations within society have become different, and there's a lot of politics at play here, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, and surely policing has changed over time. So.
And I'll follow up with that. I was a sergeant in the state police, retired after 20 years in 2018. And I will tell you the fundamental necessary issue for police officers in the field is they need to know that they're supported by command staff and that they have the support of their legislature and the people that create laws. And in order to protect society, they need to know that when they make those split-second decisions that they know they're going to be supported. And we would give Colonel Malikas a lot of credit. We believe that he has been a true gentleman and a great leader through this process and has actually stood up for his trooper in this situation and helped support him through this whole ordeal.
Finally, for me, just regarding pursuits, at the time, I don't know what the laws were about pursuits and when you could or could not. I assume it's you can pursue if you think that the danger to the public is potentially greater by not pursuing than if you did pursue, but I don't know.
Again, it goes back, it's a great question, and it goes back to your point of it was what was reported to the state police at the time by Norwalk Police Department. So you had a fleeing felon who allegedly had committed an armed carjacking and was in the AT&T store with a knife and brandished that knife in a threatening way. And was a high-speed chase, at times over 100 miles an hour, striking other vehicles and ultimately colliding with an occupied vehicle. Mm-hmm. That you can't just let that individual continue on. So they authorized the pursuit under our department policy at the time. Okay. I believe since then, I don't have the timeline in front of me, but I think our policy has since changed.
You know, and initially, the troopers, it sounded like from reading the report, were actually trying to slow down the vehicle by the way they were maneuvering traffic, slowing traffic down, cutting off potential lanes for this stolen car to get anywhere, so to try to slow it down naturally and end it that way.
I mean, again, we want to be really sensitive to the Mubarak Soulamane's family and not really rehash the facts of the case in the public view. We think that should be reserved for the judicial process. But what you're saying is public information. It's been released. Our troopers really tried to do the best they could, and the unfortunate circumstances occurred. And you can never bring a human being back, but that was not the intent. And our trooper did what he was trained to do to protect others. So, you know, we'll respect the family and leave it at that for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just another question real quick. With the use of deadly force where unfortunately someone did pass away, how common is this that an officer is arrested?
Yeah. It's more common today after the last 2 years of national news. But on that point, I will make one comment. And it's public information. If you watch the video link on YouTube, the agency put out a detailed description and actually body camera and motor vehicle recordings of the incident. And here's a real important fact. Trooper North himself instructed Trooper Jackson to go from lethal force to less than lethal force with a taser. His intent was not to cause the death of another human being. He was trying to de-escalate and use the least amount of force necessary. So that's a really important factor in this case. And but to answer your question, I think there's a national trend lately by legislatures around the country to make the job of policing more difficult and put our people more at risk. And as a result, there are jurisdictions that are arresting police officers because they believe they can prosecute successfully, where in the past they had not done that. And it's, you know, again, we're going to vigorously defend him. We'll find a way to finance this effort to support him and Trooper North and his family. But it's really unfortunate. And we think, we'll say the last statement is we think this is a message to every police officer around the country and here in Connecticut. And it's really unfortunate. So, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Do you guys want something to drink or anything? Help yourself.
And the report said Trooper